listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Another episode of the Red Moon Podcast. I really want a chimichanga. Just sounds so good right now. If you're out there and you order me a chimichanga, I'll love you immensely. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal duo, Sean Sebastian, and
I don't really know what he's going on about. I don't understand.
You don't want a chimichanga?
Who wants a chimichanga?
Why don't you want the chimichanga?
Why don't you want me to want a chimichanga?
I do want you to want it.
Well, I don't want to want it.
You don't want to want it. You don't want one.
I don't want to want what I don't want.
Chimichangas are just
that
so
accent
good.
you were using sounded like you weren't where chimichangas come from.
I don't know where chimichangas come from. They come from a place that I am not.
I don't know what that is. Is that
it's
Indian
He's
mixed
in a
with
call center.
It's just me
Is where he
doing
is.
something.
It's
not. No, I mean, I'm not trying to do any intentional.
Here's the thing about accents. I think
You never do.
You could make it up.
Yeah, I make up an accent that nobody knows where it comes from.
Exactly. And if they
They're
try,
like, what is that accent? I don't know. It's a blend of all the accents, all of them together, right now.
if you could keep an accent for a certain time, I think it would be interesting to see if somebody was like, "That's an interesting dialect." Let me try to figure out where that's at.
I'm gonna work on that.
Yeah.
Just maintaining the same just made up accent. And
Yeah.
see if someone's
See if they can trace it
like,
somehow.
It's like, are you somebody like from some other? Are you from Bristol? It's good to meet you. I don't know. I don't even know what.
I'm from the eastern side of Bristol. I'm telling you, nobody ever pays attention to us over there. That kind of sounds like the people.
Nobody
in
knows.
I don't know.
Don't go to the castle.
Don't
No,
go
he's
to-
like, don't go that way. She'd gone that way. She'd gone straight to the castle. That's what it sounds like. I don't know what that accent is.
The labyrinth.
The worm accent. That's what it is.
That
That's what
is.
it is.
Well, that's the thing. If it's a fantasy accent, you
Yeah.
just make it up.
Yeah.
You make up the dialect.
Yep.
I mean, come on. We're talking about
They
completely.
make this little it's like a paperweight of that worm that you can put on your desk, but it's like $80. I want one, but I don't wanna pay
That's
$80.
way too much. Wait,
Well, because
wait.
it's a very very
Detailed.
elaborate,
yeah,
detailed.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it better damn well be like.
It's got
better
like
talk to
actual.
you.
It's got
Puppet.
like hair
You're
on it
doing
and
a good
everything.
job,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it better
So-
talk to you.
I want it
up
to
the good work.
move and like
that'd be
push the
creepy.
paper forward. Here's
Yeah.
the next one.
Yeah.
Keep working.
They know they can charge that
Keep
much
working.
because nerds will pay for it. So
I want the junk lady.
a lot of those collectors. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
If the junk lady
Yeah.
came into my room, clean this mess up.
Well, she
What
don't
is all
clean.
this? Well, I know,
You
but
know.
that would be
You
kind
want
of the
you
point.
want your bear? You want your lipstick? Brandon would have some lipstick. Oh yes, you love your bear.
Don't
They all
pull
have that
things out
accent.
from under
All
my
of them.
bed.
She would love your dog and all her toys.
Ambrosius, my loyal steed.
Such a great
I
movie.
love it.
We need to watch that at the lake.
We should.
Oh man.
I mean, we always
would love
pick
to.
B movies, but we need to watch ones that are worth
We
watching.
should.
Yeah.
That and Never-Ending Story. Oh man.
Dude,
I
never
thought
ending.
we did try to watch that once.
I don't know. Maybe. I think we did. And we fell.
Say
we,
my name.
we fell asleep. I think
Oh.
it was one of the ones we put on towards the end of the night.
We should
Yeah.
watch Never Ending Story. Is it 2 or 3? Which one's the one with the terrible Atreyu? It's like
Both they change each time.
it's a Native American kid.
Oh no, the
playing-
second one because Atreyu's not in the third one.
I
Is
don't
Jonathan
think I've ever seen
Brandeis
the third one.
in that? Is he the one who plays oh gosh,
Bastion?
Bastion?
It's
I think
different.
that's the
It's a
third
different
one.
kid.
Yeah, it's a
every
different
one.
kid in every
Yeah.
one. But Atreyu's only in the second.
I think Jonathan Brandeis is number 2, and I think the third is what's his name? The child actor who he died, River Phoenix.
No.
What?
I want to. Maybe I'm making that up. Then.
Yeah, I
You
think
totally
so.
made that up.
I don't know who it is. It's somebody.
He killed himself before that.
Well,
I'm googling it
if
right
he didn't
now.
before, he would have during it.
That's it.
He
Maybe
realized
they
how
offered
bad
him
a
the role,
movie,
and he was
yeah.
like, "God, I'm to this point
Now
now."
I gotta go. I'm Audi 5000. See you guys. Who is it? You got it up? Pulled
I'm
up?
Getting there.
It's
So
funny 'cause-
so the first one was Barrett Oliver. So let's see.
Barrett Oliver.
Barrett Oliver. Jonathan Brandeis was the second one.
Okay, see, I
Yeah, because I knew Atreyu's not in the third. The third one.
the best one was the first one. That the
Well,
no
none,
name.
none of the other ones were good at all. They sucked, but that's okay. And the other one was Jason James Richter.
So it was not River Phoenix.
Don't know who.
Totally wrong.
Now,
James
now the
River
third
Phoenix.
one's the one that Jack Black's in as the bully. It's like one of his
That's
first roles.
right.
Yes, it's like one of his first.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
it's
Yeah.
really bad.
Yeah, he's a bully. It is bad. The movie's terrible, but it's great terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's Troll 2 terrible.
yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
That's,
maybe
that's
not,
an iconic
That's
terrible.
not that terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that good terrible. It's just.
Yeah.
Melissa Burris,
Yeah.
we are not trashing The Labyrinth.
It's
No.
what? No.
No, we
It's
love
a
that
great
movie.
No, we love We're
Yeah.
trashing Neverending Story 2 and
Yeah.
3.
I love David Bowie and his ball sack.
The potpourri.
His socks.
Yeah. The bog of eternal stench.
And his
great,
freaking
great
album,
stuff.
the whole album throughout
Oh,
that,
yeah.
where he sings,
Mhm.
it's just fantastic.
No,
No, I wouldn't
Labyrinth
make
is an
dance,
amazing
magic
movie.
dance. Smack that baby, make him
You chose,
pee.
man. Those hands always creeped me out. You chose down,
Oh yeah.
going down.
Yeah.
You remind me of the babe. What babe? The babe of the power. What power? The power of the voodoo. Voodoo, you do. Remind me of the babe. What kind of magic? Yeah, all right. It's a great.
We're
great
just,
movie.
yeah, we're just,
Sorry.
we letting it go
Melissa
now, Brandon.
says she would let David Bowie throw her babies in the air.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Any
I
day.
probably would.
absolutely. That's an
I don't know
instance
if Jacob
where
would be okay with that.
I mean, think of it as like Michael Jackson holding blanket. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I think
You just-
Jacob would be sweating.
Yeah.
He would just be watching and sweating.
Jacob would join in.
Like I don't know about that.
yeah. Let Jacob throw his children in the air.
Jacob would be over there doing that
Dance magic
little
dance.
like
The
ball
balls.
thing.
Yes.
What CD goes like that with the ball? I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So great.
It's so freaking good.
And I bet he really did that too. That
No,
was not a
that's-
stunt
No, no,
double.
no.
That was
They
David
show
Bowie.
it. He like they have a guy
yeah.
who
There's
puts
a guy
his
behind
hands.
him. That's why.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
That's why they
yeah.
have the potpourri in
Yes,
his,
yes,
his
I remember.
crotch. Yeah.
Yes.
That's so great.
Why
Yeah.
would you have to do it from the? Well, you do it from the back.
I guess
I
he
guess-
sweats. I mean, that under those lights, I don't know.
His gooch gets sweaty.
Maybe he's like Matthew McConaughey. He
He's
doesn't
wearing
shower.
Those,
You know.
He's wearing those freaking, horse riding
But you know,
pants.
it's here's the thing. And,
Looks like
and,
Patton.
and as
to mount up on
and
Ambrosius.
as amazing as the movie is, it's still like more low budget. Yeah, I bet like they didn't like those pants were probably the same pants he wore over and over. They probably didn't get
Oh yeah,
washed.
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Jim Henson, man, he made all those puppets by hand. They were already on
Like,
a
I'm
shoestring
sure
budget.
like his leotard thing just it stunk after a while.
Hoggle. And then of
Hoggle.
course we talked about it before. Those things take off their heads.
Heads.
Oh, those
Yeah.
creeped me out
Gosh,
too.
sakes.
Oh, those always.
Freaking,
Yeah.
I used to close my eyes as a kid. Just freaked me out.
You know-
they start pulling like their heads
It's
off.
amazing the stuff that's scary
Freaks you
when
out?
you're a kid.
Yeah.
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 Well, it's amazing the things
Take
they used
off
to
your
make as a
head.
kid.
Yeah.
Now they just. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to go political.
I mean, I think we should.
not at the top of the show.
We were talking about children, and this movie's about a child, and
That's about all we could reference.
It's just less fun to talk about. So I guess we
guess-
should go into it. Maybe.
All right, go
It's got
for
Zac
it.
Efron in
You know,
it.
look, after 2 weeks of,
I mean, he wasn't even like
No.
impressive.
He
I didn't even
sucked.
get to see him without a shirt on. Pissed me off.
yeah, there was one scene.
Was
The
it?
very
I'm
beginning.
just gonna be honest
He
with
comes
you.
out of the bedroom and he puts on
Oh,
a
he
shirt.
puts a shirt on,
I didn't
yeah.
watch
And I was
most
like,
of this movie.
They got to get the abs in there.
Yeah,
That was the
Yeah.
one.
That
thing
was
they
the
had to do.
fire in the movie.
Whew.
Fire!
Let's just do. Let's
Well,
go.
I see fire. Was that's from The
That's from
Hobbit?
The Hobbit.
Yeah, the second one.
Oh man,
I see
I
fire.
swear to God, when I went to see that with you guys,
Oh, my
that was
God.
and
terrible.
that started playing during
I
the
was
credits,
not-
I was
no.
like,
What the hell is
"What
this?
is
Yeah.
going on?" And then we all looked at each other, and was like, "Is that Ed Sheeran?"
It was. I see fire. Yes, it was.
I just wanna
And
see
I'm gonna
a-
be honest with you, I've played the hell out of that song.
Oh, it's actually
a
not that
great
bad,
song.
but it just doesn't fit
yes,
like
no, it
Middle
does,
Earth.
It does not fit that.
No,
Like
it
I've
doesn't.
listened to it after the fact.
No.
I was like, actually, this ain't
It's
a bad
good
song.
but
it-
in
it
another
just-
movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say not for the Hobbit.
I
Yeah.
see fire.
I
Yeah, it was
seriously
bad.
want to see
Oh,
like now
man.
just dissolving shots of Zac Efron
Yeah.
taking
I
his
see
shirt
fire.
off with Ed Sheeran's "I See Fire."
Mm.
I think. Alrighty, here is
Yeah.
our review
Oh.
of Stephen King's Firestarter.
From producer Jason Blum, the talented mind behind Blumhouse Productions, known for low-budget horror hits such as Paranormal Activity, The Invisible Man, and the Halloween reboot. And also from Akiva Goldsman, producer of A Beautiful Mind, comes Firestarter, a remake of a 1984 film based on a 1980 novel written by Stephen King. Sounds like a great formula when said that way, doesn't it? One could also say, however, from Blumhouse Productions, producers of the Purge series and Halloween Kills, and Akiva Goldsman, producer of Starsky and Hutch, the abysmal Dark Tower adaptation, and writer of such gems as Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Comes Firestarter, a remake of a mediocre 1984 film based on a Stephen King novel. The second wording, sadly, is more fitting, because despite Blumhouse's massive talents and hits, they do produce duds, and boy is Firestarter a dud. Starring Ryan Kiera Armstrong as Charlene Charlie McGee, an 11-year-old girl, and Zac Efron as Andy McGee, her father, Firestarter tells the story of a family on the run from a secret government organization that has been experimenting on people. These experiments have left Andy and his wife Vicky, played by Sydney Lemon, and their child Charlie with different psychic abilities. In Charlie's case, she has developed pyrokinetic abilities, able to create and control fire with her mind. Much of the story follows the McGees on the run from DSI, the secret organization that gave them their powers, as DSI is eager to get Charlie back for more experiments and also cannot risk being exposed, leading DSI to enlisting Rainbird, a Cherokee man, played by Michael Greyeyes, who has also been the subject of experiments to track the McGees down. Where to begin with this latest Stephen King adaptation? The bones of the story are there. It is on paper the basic premise of King's novel, clocking in a whopping 20 minutes shorter than the 1984 adaptation. To be fair, the original film is guilty of dragging longer than was necessary. A more streamlined narrative and shorter film isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the remake is too bare bones to even justify its existence. With little in the way of character depth or emotional development, we get a story that is fairly generic. Government experiments on people, people escape. Government tries to hunt down their quote-unquote property, and their experiments wreak chaos on either the innocent or on those that did the experimenting. King himself has once described himself as the literary equivalent of a Big Mac and fries. I don't bring this up to disparage King, I'm an avid fan of King's novels, but where Stephen King has always excelled is in his characters and the emotional depths and themes his stories cover. King takes stereotypes and tropes and dives to the root of why they exist, and uses them as a vehicle for characters readers can relate to on a human level. Firestarter, the 2022 film, apparently just thinks a cute 11-year-old girl with terrible CGI fire powers is somehow inherently scary on its own. And that scary bad government trope is enough of a reason for us to root against the bad guys and care for our heroes. The film has no subtlety. What has changed in this movie from the original novel and original film serves no purpose either, with more screen time given to Vicky, Charlie's mother, adding no extra emotional connection, and the character of Rainbird altered to be more of a tragic figure than a sociopathic bounty hunter. The shortened runtime is wasted on characters that don't add anything to the story's themes. Rainbird is not a menacing nor scary figure, and isn't meant to be in this film. But likewise, DSI isn't menacing enough an entity to serve as the main antagonist either. This ripple effect changes the film's ending as well, resulting in a weaker climax where Charlie's turning point is no longer as horrifying as it should be because again, the film is only relying on the shock factor of a cute 11-year-old girl perpetrating the acts of horror, not the horror that led her to this point. And with Rainbird no longer the horrific figure he should be, we have no contrast between someone who chooses and enjoys being a monster versus an innocent that was made into one. None of this is aided by the weak acting and directing. Keith Thomas has made about as milquetoast a horror film as one could manage. While the original film suffered from poor pacing, it did subtlety well, with solid tension and an uneasiness present throughout the movie. And a Charlie, played by Drew Barrymore, who again brought a quiet, subtle, unnerving horror to Charlie. Ryan Kiera Armstrong lacks subtlety in her performance, as do all the actors involved, including Zac Efron and Michael Greyeyes, all of which lands at the director's feet. Firestarter is simply a pointless remake with nothing to offer audiences. Blumhouse has always prided itself on making cheap horror films with great production value. Films that are made low cost but never feel cheap. Firestarter feels cheap, looks cheap, and lacks any creativity. I give Firestarter 1.5 out of 4 stars.
Okay. 1.5.
You know it's bad when the same video. See,
There must be silence.
Keep careful watch of my brother's soul. And should the sky be filled with fire and smoke, keep watching over during sun.
Hey, he has heard it.
it's great.
He's heard it a bunch
It's
of
just
times.
not good at the end of that movie.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. We're gonna get a copyright strike.
That's right.
Ed Sheeran's gonna come after Red Road.
Oh man.
Let's talk about. I know we don't want to. I'd rather talk about that fiery redhead than this movie. 1.5. You look, it's bad when I only have the trailer, the original like official trailer that came out,
Yeah.
and 2 movie clips that I have to edit a 5-minute review with. And as you could see, there were tons of
Repeats,
reused footage.
yeah.
Because I'm like, there's nothing else I can find online unless I downloaded some torrent of the movie. And it's like, it was just,
And then you get
It
more
wasn't-
copyright strikes.
it just wasn't worth it at that point.
It's not. It's not worth
'Cause,
it.
I
It's not
knew
worth
what kind of
getting
movie
sued
it
for
was.
Firestarter.
So, Keith, you gave us your score, Sean. What do you officially get? 1? I think I'm settling on that as well. I agreed with you 1.5.
Yeah.
But after hearing your review and all of us bashing it,
It's bad.
It
It's
was.
not a good movie.
the real
There's a reason it was on Peacock.
yeah. And they were like, we're just gonna hopefully sucker
Now,
enough
this is
people
in theaters,
to go to the
right?
theaters.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're hoping to get
It's
a
released
few
both.
people.
Yeah.
But it's funny because honestly, there's just no reason for this movie to exist.
No.
No.
You've seen the same plot points done a million times over in other mediocre films.
You've seen this film done better 30
Yes.
years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, true. Well, and I think you're one of the only ones of us 3 here
Keith's
that have
seen
seen.
it.
Have you seen the original?
I
Richard Berman?
did. Yeah.
Oh, you did
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
it. Okay.
yeah.
What would y'all say the original's better?
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't say it's like, in my opinion, it's not like 3-star better.
No,
no,
it's not.
It's like 2.5 for sure. It's not better. I mean, it's way better than this. And I really agree with your point in the review about Drew Barrymore having this kind of a quiet nature to her. She is she was in E.T. as the dog,
Yeah,
as
she
the
was a
little
little girl,
sister,
yeah.
and even in E.T., her silent moments and the looks on her face when
she
she's
can
being
actually
quiet
act,
are
yeah.
very, very convincing, and that's what she brings to Firestarter in the one from 1984.
The fact that like you can believe like that she's kind of like in these moments kind of just lost you know the sense of herself, and that it is a pure emotional like lash out at that point. So but yeah, I mean this movie just it had no emotional depth. You didn't give a crap about any of the characters, even the ones they changed to make you care about. Like I felt like they really toned back some of the atrocities that Charlie does because they want to try to keep her sympathetic. But I'm like, if you do the story right, she's already sympathetic from the fact that this was done to her. It's not her fault.
Yeah.
And now she's trying to learn how to control this thing and hurting people. But it's almost like they didn't want to really show her hurt too many people because they still want you to root for her in the end. And I'm like, but that defeats the purpose of the story as well, especially changing Rainbird, like I said in the review, who is a sociopath and enjoys murdering people. And then it's like now you just made everybody like, oh, the government's bad and experimented on him. You should feel bad for him. We're like, well, we've seen that a million times before. It's like
Stranger
it's-
Things.
Yeah, and it's
Done exponentially better.
Yes, it's
Way
like
more depth.
You changed the story and made it less unique. You actually made it more generic, and so why? Like it's just a dumb move, and the movie itself is
and honestly,
boring anyway.
That was kind of my question at the end of this and I just bring up Stranger Things because it's probably the most relevant right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could, if I really had the time to sit down, I could come up with a list of movies that have
Oh, yeah.
had the same tropes. But there's two things. It's like, why remake this? I mean, when you were telling me right after you recorded the review, the uniqueness of the novel itself, because I've not read the novel.
yeah.
And ultimately the essence of the characters and the dichotomy between, Charlie and Rainbird.
Yeah.
And how, one is a monster and one becomes one.
Yeah.
But yet, the whole thing, like here in like a 5-minute summation of the book, I'm sitting here thinking that's a worthy plot point. So again, why do we have another example of an adaptation of a movie where they completely throw out all the themes of the book to make whatever crap or garbage they're going to make.
Yeah.
And two, and this is a more broader question, why are they picking Stephen King movies or novels to make into movies we've already seen?
Yeah, all of them
There's
have been.
plenty of novels and other works by King that we have not seen yet.
They've redone now Pet Sematary, The Stand, It. They're working on Children of the Corn. And I think I told you, I had read there's a Christine remake in the works. It's like, we've seen all these. Carrie got remade. Yeah, it's like, why not make something that hasn't been adapted yet?
I'm baffled by the fact that it's like, I thought these types of movies, I guess that's what surprises me most is, yeah, I mean, we expect bad movies. We just reviewed 2 others in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange and I forgot what the
We
one.
haven't.
What was the one before? It was bad too. I'm already blanking.
We didn't review because the ones before that was Northman and the Nick Cage movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
yeah.
No. True.
Yeah.
My bad. Doctor Strange was just the last bad one.
Yeah.
And it was bad. It was just mediocre.
Yeah.
But no, we've had our slew of bad movies.
I'd say it's kind of bad.
It's
No,
kinda-
I mean,
Not as bad as this.
No.
you're right.
No.
They're 2 different levels.
Oh,
I
yes,
watched a movie
yes.
called Shark Bait over the weekend, and it was bad. And it was terrible.
It was bad.
I mean, yeah.
Like, was it? I feel like that's a.
It was like naked teenagers stuck on a jet ski
heck
in the
yes.
middle of the water,
What
and a
was
shark
the
is hunting
beach
them.
or the sand? Which one was the one?
Was it called
It was
Sand?
called
The Sand?
I think.
That's awesome.
It's a terrible.
That was a
movie.
great
Yeah.
one. I love that one.
But it's like I just don't understand why we keep getting these adaptations. I mean, that's why. Yeah, I was surprised by this film because I expect some movies to be bad, but this one was bad because this is something that would have been made 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And we would have called it mediocre then or a lackluster,
It's like you said, you don't really understand the decision behind it. It's like, why decide to remake Firestarter unless you feel like you have a really good idea to do something unique with it and make it better than the
Right.
original, and then you produce something that's very generic and bland, and it's like, what were you going for? Why did you make this movie? Like, it really doesn't deserve to exist because it has no purpose.
One theory out there is that they had rights that were going to be kind of like the Fantastic Four being made
a
by
lot
Sony.
of Marvel movies, like with Spider-Man and everything. Fantastic Four was Fox, which they own.
Oh,
now,
I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's like they would make these movies to prevent the rights from going back to Marvel. And I could see that with this, except that Stephen King, I mean, heck, he does his dollar babies where he'll sell short stories for $1 to up-and-coming filmmakers. He's always stated that once, like, someone gets the rights to his thing, it's their project. Like, he doesn't get upset about changes and this and that because that's, they're making their movie based on his story. It's no longer his story.
Well, he also feels like his story is well enough to stand on
And
its own.
it's in the
Yeah,
books. So
absolutely.
it's one of those things where I can't imagine it was one of those things where Stephen King's like, oh no, I'm going to get the rights back to this. Like, I don't think so. So I don't know. I mean,
Well, and even if that was the case, it's like, why would you be worried about losing the rights to Firestarter?
Yeah.
For one, there's already a movie that was longer,
Yeah.
and even it was not considered exceptional. But then
Yeah.
you made this one shorter and completely ignored the themes of the book. Like, why wouldn't you be worried that, or why would you be worried that your license to use it or adapt
if you
it is
thought
going to
it
be
was going to be
is
that
gonna
mu-
lapse?
yeah, if you
who
thought,
cares?
If you thought it was going to be that much of a powerhouse that you could make money off of, you would have already made a movie about it by now.
See,
Like, it wouldn't have gotten into, I think, to that point where it's about to elapse, because it's like, if you really thought it was that heavy hitter, like, you don't want to lose the rights to the stand, you might be able to do something with that pulls in lots of viewers and money.
I don't know. Maybe they're expecting to bank off of it enough to where they say, yeah, it was a worthy film to do, because I can't imagine obviously it's flopped at the box office.
It is bombed at the box office.
It's-
yeah.
Which,
just
granted,
done
I mean, it
abysmally.
is also on Peacock, but still, yeah, I just don't think there was a lot
Maybe
of
they thought it was
interest.
going to drive subscribers.
I don't think there was. I can't imagine there's a lot of interest in it to begin with. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either.
It's not that Firestarter's a bad novel, but it's never been like one of his highest. Like, it's not one of the ones that people are like, "Oh man, that's amazing." It doesn't have the
Yeah.
notoriety of
Right.
The Shining or The Stand or It. So it's kind of like, without that notoriety, I'm not even
See,
sure
this
why.
is like a step backwards, because for me, I felt like it was much more true to the book.
Yeah.
And it was also like increasingly scarier than the made for TV movie. Like, that terrified me when I was a kid. This movie, like, I honestly, after we've seen the second one, I've never watched it again. Like, it is a movie that genuinely did scare the hell out of me. So there's just things in that movie that I don't want that image in my head anymore.
Well, and it's funny because you even bring up the TV made films, and it's like I actually enjoy The Stand.
Oh, no,
The
yeah,
Shining.
yeah, those
well,
are good.
yeah,
They were
and
decent.
but it's like I enjoy
Yeah.
those to the extent that they do.
Even Needful Things was a decent
yeah,
TV movie.
I haven't seen that
made-
one.
yeah,
Actually.
yeah.
I saw Rose Red. I didn't like.
I
that
like
one
Rose
too
Red.
much.
I like Rose
It
Red.
was okay, but
That was his kind of his love letter to The Haunting. And
Well,
I
wait.
think that's why I
Are you
liked
talking
it.
about the series or the book?
The series? There's not a book. That was he. that
Oh,
was-
he made it. Oh, he just made it for.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why I didn't like it.
I love it
I don't
because
know.
I think it
Oh,
just
never
it
seen it.
fits. I just think like as like that kind of because it basically is just a retelling of the Haunting or
Yeah.
Hill House, but in like a Stephen King just aesthetic. So
I just think
Yeah.
that the one girl annoys the hell out of me.
Oh,
I didn't
Kimberly
like
J.
her.
Brown?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't like
Yeah.
her at all. I don't know. Just
yeah.
one of those weird child actresses that I was like, you look that. Never mind. But no, I also just terribly one last pan on the movie. The effects look like they were bought off of
Oh, they
Video
were
Hive,
terrible.
Yeah.
and you just applied it to the
You
whole
know-
image. It looked terrible. It was god awful.
Storm of the Century had terrible effects, but it was made for TV.
TV and back in like the late
in the
'90s, early
90s,
2000s.
But I was gonna say the fire in this looked just as bad as some of the scenes in that, and that was again a made-for-TV '90s series.
that was
so-
another one I
yeah.
wasn't fond of either.
No, that one was also
didn't like
not a
that one.
book. He
The,
wrote the screenplay.
The Hand of
direct.
God in The Stand looked better than anything
Oh,
in
yeah.
this movie.
Yes.
The big one.
The big one.
A-bomb.
What does she say too? She's like, "Come on home," or something. Whenever the hand like comes down to grab the bomb,
No, I don't know.
she
I
says
don't remember
something. It's no. And they
She's
show her
not there.
image. They show her
Yeah.
image above.
Yeah.
And it's or no,
Oh,
no,
that
no,
was
no.
when they're looking at the
that
baby.
was when they're looking at
yeah,
the
when
baby.
they're looking at the baby, it
Stu
shows
and-
Mother Abigail.
Oh,
yeah, it's
God.
bad. It was bad.
It was real.
but
cheesy.
still, that miniseries was better than the
Oh, yeah.
CBS
Oh, yeah.
remake.
Yeah, yeah.
so.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
far and
Yeah,
away.
definitely. Yeah.
So-
Randall Flagg dancing in Vegas. I'm like, what is
that's
this?
great.
This is
That's
crap.
fantastic.
All right. Yeah, all right. Don't go see Firestarter. Definitely don't go see it in the
Don't
theater.
see it. If you
If
have,
you have Peacock,
and you want to, I guess, but
it's
it's not
a
really
pass.
worth your time at all.
Yeah, I would say it's a pass.
It's a pass. You can just pass it right around.
You could. All righty, guys. I think we're ready
Okay.
to move on to our headlines.
I'm always ready.
I am. Well, I just realized that was screwed up, but oh well.
Well, it's
It
only
happens.
screwed up because you're screwed up.
It
Oh,
happens.
the dog came.
Oh, the dog came.
What?
Heard
Why
me
did the-
whistle, I guess.
Whistle
it was
while
an
you
attempt
work.
at whistling.
Oh,
Oh,
There you
there
go.
she goes. She,
love it.
What you doing, Edith?
Oh yeah, she heard it. She's coming to visit.
Yeah, she came.
Let's talk about some headlines.
all right.
What type of headlines?
I
Let's
love.
say those-
I just love when news breaks
when the
after
news breaks.
our show airs. So the very next day
Oh,
after
the
our
news is
show,
already broken.
no, that's a very
It's
valid
broken.
point.
It's broken.
Excuse me.
Too true. Ooh, that beer is good, isn't it?
I like beer.
Well, wait, hold on. We're finishing up our. It was the IPA.
I like it. It tastes good.
What is it?
It's not as
again?
bitter this week for some reason.
I
guess
agree. It's not as
I
hoppy.
don't know.
I think Sean, you're just starting
It
to
lost some of its hop.
You've had so many IPAs with us, you're starting to get used to it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who? What brand was it again? We didn't show.
It's West
the
6, isn't it?
West 6.
West
Yeah.
6 IPA. Okay.
Out of Lexington.
But it's not. It's not. They're like West 6 IPA, just like the
It's
basic.
a certain kind.
Yeah,
I
it's
just, I'd have to go get the can. And
He'd have to get the can, have to
something.
look at it, and have to
Something.
read
I
it,
don't
and then
know.
after he read it, he'd have to walk
You
back
can't
in
go
here,
wrong with
and
them.
then he'd have to sit down and look at the camera and speak into the microphone
Just
and let
gotta
us know
look
what
at
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just gotta look at it.
yeah. So what's happening in those headlines?
So the day after our show last week, Netflix announced after their tremendous 200,000 subscriber loss,
Oh, they're having problems.
they are looking in to ads.
Yeah,
They are planning.
as a lower tier, they're not just going to force it upon people.
Well, and they also fired. It came out today. They fired or let go of 150 employees.
Well, what I found interesting about that is
So they're
before
continuing to
firing employees, they did come, and it's funny because again, it shows you how much they're bleeding and how much now they have to focus on their money. They did come out with the statement like letting employees know that
The memo.
not everybody is going to agree with what we have on our platform. That's okay if you don't agree with the content, but if you have a problem with it, then they just basically tell them to quit.
See you
It's
later.
like look, it is what it is. And I mean, part of that's in response to the Dave Chappelle stuff, but I think part of that is they realize, look, we can't afford to play all these BS games and try to make happy all these different small groups, that we need to focus on the larger sum of our subscribers so that we maintain money. I mean, they got to keep their stockholders happy, and they realize they're bleeding. I mean, they've been bleeding, but now they're realizing that it's not something that they thought they could just quickly recover from.
It's just funny because, like, you know, the left-leaning people who are the CEOs of these big companies and on their boards and even the people working there, they hate capitalism, they hate everything, but here they are, right here.
Yep.
It's all about the money.
Well, but
whatever's hurting our pocketbook,
again,
we're gonna go.
Reality hits you
Yeah.
in the face.
Yeah.
Because at some point, it doesn't matter what kind of jargon you push out into a PR statement or what kind
They
of
realize
bandwagon
their
you
jobs
jump
and their
on.
money's on the
Well,
line.
because at the you have, I mean, what is your whole entire purpose for existing? It's to create content that people are going to buy and consume based on subscribing to your service. And we've already known ever since the height of the pandemic that these days were coming simply because you were going to have to face the fact that a lot of more people were at home and you had subscriptions going through the roof for Netflix. It was one of the best times.
Yep.
And that's like with any business. You're going to have peaks and you're going to have valleys.
Yep.
And it's what you do in the midst of the loss that you start to kind of see the identity of, okay, is this a company that's serious about how they have to turn and how they have to pivot to make up for, I mean, kind of like what we've joked about with AMC, buying a gold mine and also making these ridiculous, like, pleas for money whenever they were in the thick of the pandemic. And it was just like, okay, what's the messaging here? Because you're not giving me any faith in your business model.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you see the stock price starting to come down and really hit them with reality. Is it's like, okay, you can talk this big game and you can jump on any bandwagon you want for so long, but yeah, if nothing comes home to roost, then at the end of the day, you're going to be facing the sad fact that, hey, we've actually got a failing business model. We got to make something happen.
Yeah.
And they already are, I think, along with announcing the 200,000 subscriber loss, they also announced that they're planning, I think, over the next quarter to possibly lose 2 million more.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then what do they do? Is this ads-based plan? Is this going to work? Is this going to pull them out of the hole? What's going to happen?
I don't see a lot of streaming services are going to ad-based plans now as a cheaper option for people, because there are the ones that will pay for it. Peacock has proven it. Paramount had it, but Paramount actually got rid of their ad-based plan, which is kind of funny, as Disney Plus is looking to add one, and now Netflix is adding one, and I think HBO Max has talked about having an ad-based tier. And either way, I don't care because I'm never paying for ads. But it is one of those things that if it can help keep my subscription costs down too, because Netflix is already $20
Well, here's the
a
thing:
month.
if you're not having to pay for the ads, if they have a free tier, they're just getting income from the people who advertise.
Well, I don't think that's the case, because most of them are still paid.
Yeah, but I think
None of
they're
them
gonna
have,
be,
like, free
I think
ad.
they're going to be in the $4.99
Yes,
a
yeah.
month kind of range
It'll be
with
cheap.
ads. What I'm worried about with Netflix, specifically Netflix, because Netflix is the only one out of all of them that has made you pay extra for 4K content.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that their cheap ad-based tier is not going to be 4K content.
it'd have to be at least 1080.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, everything's 1080.
Well,
but
no,
I'm
they have 3 different tiers. They have like a cheap, a middle, and then a
SD.
20. They have a SD.
I think they have
Yeah.
an SD
Are you
feed.
sure?
Yeah. I looked it up yesterday.
I don't know.
I
I'd have
think
to-
I think they had like
They
HD
do.
with one stream at a time. Then they've got HD with up to 3 streams.
Maybe they've sunset it. It may not exist anymore, but for a
I
while
was
there
on
was
it,
an
I think
SD.
yesterday, because I was helping my mom with something, and they had like the 3 tiers.
But here's the thing,
and I think that's weird.
Sean, you had sent an article today talking about how Disney Plus has been looking into this for some time.
Yeah.
And they're planning on launching a free tier with ads.
Yes.
So to me, that alone is going
Oh,
to
is
elicit.
Disney's going to be free?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're going to be free because right now it's only $5.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
or
just
$7.99.
didn't know,
Well,
because a lot
they're
of
going to
them,
raise it to they're going to raise the price of that one when they come out with the free one.
I thought Disney Plus was $7.99.
It's $8 a month, and then they're going to raise that to
Oh.
the ad free. The ad free one is going to be raised in cost over $8 a month, and then
Okay.
they will have a free with ads. And then one thing about that I did think was I know it's Disney's all screwed up right now, especially when it comes to our children. but they are going to, at least with their ad-based tier, they're going to block any ads, no ads at all on any content for preschool and younger. So you're not gonna, which I think that's not old enough. Like I really wish they would do it up until like the 12-year-old content or whatever. They've got their content, their kids stuff is based. When you set up a kid's account, you can base it on like ages 0 through 4. Then you can and then 5 through 12 or whatever. Like you can base it. And I wish, because I don't even want my 8-year-old seeing some of the ads that they possibly could show, because I'm afraid those ads are going to be
just to add on, you did, because in the article you sent too, it also it said they weren't going to show any political ads, and also I forget, there was one other ad type they weren't going to have that was also strictly not aimed at children.
I said no political ads. I was trying to pull up I got the Netflix thing pulled up, but I was trying to pull up our text. Actually, it'd be faster if I just used my phone.
But I don't know. It's like, I agree, Sean.
I felt like at least they're taking a step towards protecting our children.
Right.
But
I don't think so much that as much as they realize how much they've been under heat and they need the subscriptions.
Right.
So they're like, well, we don't want to, again, it's about not pissing out the money. Yeah.
And it's like, and one of the ways you're offending parents is by pushing the whole LGBTQ agenda.
Yep.
And I think they're going to have to kind of pull the reins back on that a little bit.
Well, and I think that's why I thought it was interesting, the type of ads that they were saying they weren't going to show, simply to try to say we're taking a step off that pedal. We're not going to try to go into that area. But again, all the more reason I think you need to keep the pressure on them, because this doesn't stop overnight. And again, you need to constantly remind these companies who ultimately, I mean, this is the same argument to be had for Netflix. It's who's in charge here. And I think Netflix for so long has been king of the crop. They've been on top. And so they have allowed for all of these, different ways in which they can invest their money in content that really isn't popular and really isn't getting any traction, but they've been able to say, it's okay, our subscriber base keeps growing, so we're just going to put out fillers here. And after a while, you're going to kind of have to say, all right, we know this content really isn't making waves, so we really do have to put, push on the brakes, step on the brakes and say, all right, we're going to have to give a little bit more focus on this kind of content, because this is where the fans are showing up, and that's who our subscriber base is. But I don't know, with Disney Plus,
alcohol was political or alcohol ads,
and that's not surprising.
It does
normal,
say
that
after the ad-based thing comes out, like he was saying, that they likely will hike the prices, but it doesn't say it'll be free. It says they don't know the cost yet of the ad based.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought it was, because most of them, like Hulu's cost money, Peacock cost money. So I was just like, a lot of them
are $4 or $5 range, and then jack your.
I thought they were going to try to compete with the fact that none of those others, because really at this point, then Apple TV Plus will be the only one that is $5.90 or $5 a month. And they don't have ads.
They don't have anything.
And who knows if that's going to continue.
Netflix has their basic plan for $9.90 for $10, and it's 480p. $15 is 1080.
$10 and you get SD footage.
Yeah,
really? That's insane.
Standard is $15.49 for 1080, and then premium is the $20.
Wow,
that's awful.
I did not know they offered SD.
That's so stupid, though. At this point, it's like, why? Everything is already standard 1080.
I don't know.
Blu-rays,
think about it this way though. If you're primarily watching it on an iPad or a phone, 480 is good enough. It's not pretty, but it's good enough.
It is, but it's still one of those things where if I hate when businesses
look at all
do
the
this.
cheaper subscribers that are just offering 4K.
I hate it. At the end of the day, I cannot faithfully support a company, which I don't pay to Netflix anyway. But I wouldn't.
Well, they're
I
looking
would not
to stop that too, Brandon.
If it came down, well, that's exactly. That was already mentioned at being a year or two away. Well, that was the ads comment. They said, "Oh, we're a year or two away." Well, after the recent report of lost subscribers, they said, "No, by the end of the year." And around the same quarter, the last 3 months of the year, they're expecting to do the same with the password crackdown.
Sharing,
And I don't feel comfortable supporting a company that, again, either treats its users like they're stupid or pulls a fast one on them and not offer them something quality that easily, like you said, if I'm getting HD 4K content from Disney Plus and you could say, oh, well, they have a limited library to just their content. Disney has, if anything,
There's
One of the
massive
biggest
library.
the
libraries.
biggest library compared to Netflix.
Well, HBO Max, which I mean, granted, HBO Max is $15 a month, but still, it's 4K included. They have a wide library. I'm pretty sure Paramount has some 4K items, not as many. But still, most of these companies are adding 4K to their platform.
Hell, Disney's adding IMAX
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff to some of their films.
Well, and not only that, but we all see the writing on the wall, and Netflix is losing content simply from these other huge distributors because they now have their own streaming services.
Yeah.
So again, if the main draw for me buying Netflix or subscribing to it is going to be the original content, they're going to have to start answering on that front. It's not about just ad-supported tiers. I mean, yeah, you may be able to make up lost content or lost revenue from subscribers who would never subscribe.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't know if there's people who are willing to pay $5 for Netflix's library, because here's the thing, Hulu is $5 for ads, but you're at least seeing content that is refreshed and new.
Yeah.
And they do have a back catalog of certain shows, but why would I pay? I mean, I don't even do that with Peacock. I don't do, and even then, they still have certain things
Yeah.
that are Peacock only,
Yeah.
that's still live streaming, such as WWE, that you could watch without having, to pay for an ad tier without having to pay for the full price. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what Netflix's game plan is here, because it seems like to me they've still got the consumer in the target.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think that they're answering this in the smartest way possible.
Well, here's my other thought too: is if you do make an ad-based tier that costs money, say like their lowest tier right now is $10 for 480, so you make that one $5. What's its video quality? I would think you're forcing people to pay for something with ads. You give them 1080, but then why is the $5 one get 1080? But even though it has partially because it has ads, but then if you're paid $10 a month, you're screwed with 480. It's like, no.
I would be happier if they had an ad-based tier of each tier, where if 4K instead of $20 for 4K up to 4 streams, it's $12.99 or something like that with ads. Because I don't care about the ads. Ads are a good time to go pee. It's a good time to get up and get your popcorn.
See,
it doesn't bother me. It's 7 minutes worth of ads through the whole thing you're watching, and in 2 hours, if 7 minutes is all you see, I'm not bothered by
It
that.
depends on the content.
Yeah.
Well, it's Liberty Mutual ads. Like,
Well,
no, I
yeah,
mean
no,
like
I-
it
but
depends on like what
There's
I'm watching.
times where
like-
I'm watching stuff on YouTube, and even at least they've gotten a little bit better about, they'll say like they'll have a little 5-second countdown, and I know an ad's coming.
Yeah.
But there's been times
sometimes
where
the timing is terrible.
when it cuts like
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
like, especially
It's
if there are
awful.
movies on Netflix, it's
Yeah.
like, do you put an ad in the middle of the movie? Because that would piss me off. It's one thing if it's a show that you actually put the ad where
put
it goes.
an ad. Well, if for movies, it'd be great if they put the ads before
Yeah.
and after.
well, they
and
do
it's
that
like, I know
somewhat
you're
with
not
like
gonna-
Prime.
Well, they won't do after because
Prime, but
nobody will actually
will
watch
it. But yeah, if
Before,
they would do the
yeah.
ads before, that's fine.
But see, even if they did an ad version of each tier, I don't see that working unless you somehow limit the content. Because then who would? I mean, why would I pay for the upper tier, even if it's like $2 or $3 less?
No, yeah, I said yeah. I see what you're
It's
saying.
like, so I'm going to allow my kids and everybody else in the family to watch on 4 screens, but we all
maybe
still
the
got to watch
ad-based
ads.
tier
Like,
will be one stream, only one stream. No,
I have a
simultaneous
feeling that'll
streams.
be the case.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah,
Especially
they're
if
not
it's
gonna-
cheap enough
yeah.
for like $5.
Yeah.
If it's that cheap, I don't see it being more than one screen.
That was just me going off of
Yeah.
whatever because their lowest one right now is $9.99.
I mean, do you see this helping Netflix capture the revenue loss though from?
Ads are expensive, and so I'll say if you're hoping to cash in and bring in subscribers who can't afford $10 or $20 a month, and they might be able to afford $5. Not only are you getting your $5 subscription, you're getting millions from the ads. Because just like I said with Liberty Mutual, there's no telling how many millions of dollars
True.
Yeah.
freaking Liberty Mutual or Geico or any of
Yeah.
these car insurance things that you see all the time. They're paying millions of dollars a year to have their ads
And that's
on
also
Amazon.
why I
and-
don't have those insurance companies. Just saying,
Oh.
because while you're paying the premiums,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to put those ads on
Yeah.
those, yeah, exactly. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean,
Anyways,
hey,
go ahead.
State Farm, you see
All right,
I actually do have
khakis on
Geico,
there.
but it was my
Khakis
cheapest
guy.
option. So
But yeah.
What?
yeah. I do have Geico, but it was my cheapest
And
option.
I'd get
so.
farmers insurance just because of J.K.
J.K.
Simmons.
Simmons,
I mean, come on.
I ain't gonna lie. There's been times where I was thinking Kentucky Farm Bureau, it's local, and then I saw their ads and I thought it's a terrible ad. I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for now, there is one ad where it's like this guy and this girl on the couch. They make the guy stupid, like they do in every ad nowadays,
Yeah.
and it ticks me off. But the girl is kind of cute, and I'm like, I don't know.
Okay.
Makes me think if I'm paying for insurance,
You'll
maybe
get a
I'm
cute girl like that?
Well, I'm just maybe I'm putting
Or
a little
you'll-
food on her table.
you'll be
you
the
know?
dumb guy on
I'm
the
trying
couch.
to,
Yeah.
just saying.
It'll be the Mitch.
The Mitch.
Mitch.
But no, all right. I agree. I do think I don't know. I feel like if you go that route and you do have ads, I also think you're then limiting because they're suggesting that there's like 20 million people out there that they would reach
Yeah.
based on having an ad based tier, and I'm like, that's a huge number.
It's going to have
is.
to be cheap.
And if that's the case, even still, you pick up 20 million subscribers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a far reach.
Well, here's something we're not thinking about. This tier structure that they have now, that could go out the
Yeah, they
window
might completely change it
when they
all,
have an
yeah.
ad-based tier. They may have an ad-based tier at 1080 for this amount, and then you might have the $20 4K one.
Yeah.
And that might only have 2. I just can't see them sticking with SD. I can't believe they still have it, and
Yeah,
I can't see
it's
them
stupid.
sticking with it. Nobody's
they
going to
still
get it.
do mail delivery for DVDs.
They do, yeah.
Oh, my God.
They still,
Yeah.
still
I
do
did
the
not
mail
know they
delivery.
did that.
The people
Yeah.
still
Is
subscribe.
Gamefly, is that still around?
Yeah, it is.
Is
What?
it really?
Yeah, it's still around.
That's crazy.
Dang.
I
need
almost
to
I
subscribe
thought
to
about I
Gamefly.
thought about subscribing to it. They have I
You
think
can
like
get games out of Redbox.
yeah they do
Yeah.
the Redbox games.
I mean, Redbox is still a thing.
I know.
That's
it,
still
man.
going.
I see lines of people at Kroger, and I'm just like, dude, you could go home and watch that for free.
I know.
I mean, God.
I know. And some people think they're getting a better picture or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
And in some cases, yeah, if you're that much of a purist. But I have to imagine you're not worried about saving a couple bucks at Redbox if you got a banging setup at home.
Yeah.
I don't know. Redbox was great. I remember using it all the time, but it's like anymore, I just don't see. Yeah, I guess they make their money though.
Somehow people, hey,
I do.
you got
think,
the ones that they don't evolve, they don't they don't
Yeah.
upgrade. So
Well, and here's the thing: if your business model was successful, and I think Netflix has been riding these coattails for a while,
yeah,
they've been constantly gaining subscribers, and again, you're always going to find a way in which any business model is going to peak at some point. Now,
Yeah.
if you're okay with that consistency and incremental changes to make it continue to be somewhat competitive, or again, the only stop and shop. I mean, Redbox could exist because there's still a Blockbuster in freaking Oregon.
Yeah.
So it's like, if that's the case and there's one Blockbuster left, I'm sure Redbox is doing just fine. And maybe even they're willing to say, hey, once it all peters out, that's okay. We're done. We'll close up shop. But my last point about Netflix is I do think it's a bad idea to throw this business model around when you also are talking at the same time about crunching down or, what I'm trying to think of the phrase.
Cracking down.
Cracking down.
Yeah,
not
cracking
crunching
down.
down.
Crunching down.
When you're
crunching down,
crunching
on some
down.
crunch-a-munch.
When you're cracking down on people who share their password. I think,
Well, yeah, because they can't get money if you're sharing your password.
well, yeah, but it's like do one or the other. I mean, it's just bad
no,
PR.
do both. Get more money.
But
Yeah. They got to get out of the hole.
well, and,
Until you piss all the customers off and you lose money, but
and that's my thought.
Yes,
is
yeah.
when that's where I feel like I'm mightier. Is it's like, okay, fine, play this game, and just like with Disney, keep peddling
see how
the
much you
same
backpedal,
crap.
yeah.
You're peddling because you think you're that much in the driver's seat, and you find out real quickly you're not. It's the consumers that are in the driver's seat, and when they don't pay anymore because you've done something stupid or you've cracked down on password sharing,
Yeah.
and then they rally together and say, screw it, we're not buying Netflix. They don't have anything on there I want anyway. Then where you at? I'm just saying, I think they need to tread lightly, considering the shape that they're in.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's just going to get worse.
I agree.
Just like,
Rust.
yep, I was going there. That's where I was going.
It's gonna rust.
It's not getting worse because the producer is very optimistic that they'll be able to finish the film one day.
One
Yeah,
day.
One day.
I do like that it says that he updated his comments.
did.
to
He
say
updated it.
That we're just running on hope now.
Yeah.
Whether
He clarified later on that that was just his optimism.
Yeah.
So he didn't.
Do
want
we have? Can we read his
Yeah, yeah.
original quote?
Well, it says earlier. Nigam is the name of the
Nigam.
Okay, Nigam.
Nagam.
they don't know how to pronounce that in Bristol.
Nigam, yeah. Nijam, whatever.
Yeah, you should read it in that accent you made up.
No, that I don't know.
Yeah.
He expressed confidence in finishing the movie after the investigation into the accidental shooting death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Rust is obviously a horrific tragedy, Ned told Hollywood Reporter. That's what he's called now. Ned. The investigation will hopefully be resolved soon.
Wait. His name is Ned Nagam?
No, his
No,
name is
he's
Angelo
replacing Nagam with
I just said Ned because
It's easier.
it's
I
just
gotcha.
easier.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Clarification. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, well, that's just like Stacy
Ned.
being the girl, right?
Stacy being a girl.
Movie Pass, Stacy.
Wait,
The
what?
CEO of Movie Pass when you kept
Oh,
referring to
yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
That one comment on
Yeah.
our shows, he
YouTuber.
got pissed.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
He's like, we got to fight the good fight. We got to get
Ned-
This, we got to get this going.
Ned says the investigation will hopefully be resolved soon.
Investigation. Sorry.
He asked me to read, but then he won't shut up long enough to let me do it.
I'm sorry.
Not you, him.
Both of us.
No, but anyways,
It was a
I know.
reference.
But he says the investigation will hopefully be resolved soon and will unveil what happened. We know what happened,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Obviously, there will be people out there who will have negative perspectives, but we're confident about continuing to make quality movies. We're confident we'll be able to complete the movie. Then he updates it later and says, my statement that I was confident the film could be completed, that's not what you said, but anyways, the could be completed was just my optimism and not an actual plan. Many of those who were involved hope to honor Helena by completing her last work, but at this point, it is just hope. So now he tries to kind of put in there, it's like, well, it's for her. Like, I'm not, it's my optimism, but we're doing it for her. And I don't know. Maybe we should talk to what her family thinks.
Well, I was going to say, it's like,
I don't.
what's the point? I just don't
The
see
movie's
how
going to be
movie-
completely tainted at that point.
Yes.
And people, it's weird. It's
Well,
like,
not only that, I kind of thought
once
it was
you watch it,
interesting-
you're going to be like, she
At-
died.
At
Like,
the end of the article, it mentions too that they have another movie that they're doing with Alec Baldwin that's
wow.
still set to come out under what's the production company? It's the premiere for the production company.
False Awake. Okay.
False
As
Awakening
reported,
is the movie.
THR, reported by THR. Let's see,
Persona
distributors.
Entertainment.
Persona
that's it,
Entertainment.
Yeah.
So Persona Entertainment
False
is doing
Awakening,
it sounds
yeah.
like a freaking Neil Breen movie.
It's a psychological thriller which will star Baldwin as a psychologist.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All I know is, I want to see him as a psychologist analyze himself on
Yeah.
that set of
Yeah.
Rust.
Well, don't worry. The investigation's going to reveal what happened.
I need a cigarette. What kind is it?
Yes, I
Is
know.
it medium?
He's a freaking dick. I'm sorry. He is.
Oh, he is.
He is.
And he
scum.
was before this happened
yes.
too, so it's not
Long
no
before.
surprise.
But no, I ultimately think I understand where the guy's coming from, but at the same time, I just
Yeah.
think it's one of those. Look,
Let it go.
because of everything going on around the set, because of the tragedy that occurred, what's more important? And you may say, oh, well, we can get to show her work. And it's like, no. However far along you were in production, like if the film had wrapped, I mean, this is not an instance of like Heath Ledger where the movie was already done. And yeah, they were in the middle of pickups.
Yeah.
But his role had already been
It was
completed.
completed. Like at this point, they would have to hire another cinematographer to finish
Yes.
the film. So then it's like,
Then it's
How do you-
not even her last
That's
work;
what I'm saying.
it's someone else's.
Exactly.
it's like how do you
First work.
honor?
How
like,
are you doing her
How do you
self-honor?
honor? Do you like? Are we supposed to trust that he's mimicking her style? Like, I mean, it is a weird thing. And then when you think about like past, like look at the sequel to Black Panther and them choosing not to replace Chadwick Boseman. You can't just choose not to replace the cinematographer. It's like, just stick the camera there and let it capture whatever. Like, I don't
Well,
know. It's just an awkward
to me,
situation.
it
It's an
just
awkward
seems-
situation.
Like they're gonna do some cheesy, like here's the movie, and then at the end it'll be in loving memory
Yes.
of Helena Hutchins, and then they'll do
Yeah.
like maybe a montage because of what happened.
Yeah.
It'll be so it'll be like the best in loving memory you've ever seen, and it'll be like that's the way they'll honor
And
her.
then it'll end with Alec Baldwin smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
his,
No,
his
I
lucky
it'd be-
strikes.
they'll have they'll have a little subtitle at that scene, and it'll be like, "This is where she was shot." In the movie when he's
Or no,
like
no.
pulling the trigger.
her
No,
final
he didn't pull the
shot.
trigger. Sorry.
Her final shot.
No, that's That's not.
That'll be in the commentary.
too-
The
that's
director and Alec Baldwin will be sitting there and be like,
That's
and
wrong.
this scene is where
They'll actually
Alex shot Helena. Oh yeah.
they'll try to finish the film, and something else will happen. Like that's
Yeah.
how you know it's just.
Or they'll try to
jinxed.
do something like
Something will blow up.
all of the box office, money will go towards her family.
Oh yeah.
Something like
try
that.
to get people to go see it.
Oh wow.
Yep.
And then half of it'll go towards their family, and the other half will go towards their legal fees.
Pretty much, because
Yeah.
they're still trying to pay them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes I feel like they try to get these movies to be completed and released because of the controversy stirs people to go see it.
Well, of
And they
course.
thought
Yeah.
that would work with we even did it with The Hunt. And obviously that was nothing. That was nobody being injured or killed.
No, it's just
that
they
was just
abandoned or
political
whatever.
controversy.
Well, that's why I
with
think
that
we rallied
movie.
to go see it.
And well, yeah,
'Cause they
but
tried
I'm
to
just
shut it
saying,
down.
when we went
Yeah.
to go see it, it wasn't like the theaters were packed. I don't think it had the effect
No.
that they were hoping for. Well, we'll release it and people will go out and see it because it's that controversial movie.
Well, and
And I think-
I hate to say it, but we're the only ones who are following the Rust incident closely. Like, yes, you have it pop up in the news and people probably heard about it.
It's
But
already
by the
forgotten.
time
Yeah.
this movie comes out, nobody will remember
Yeah.
why this movie is relevant.
Yeah.
No,
And they're
they
either
have
and that's
Buffalo
the thing.
shooters to think
Well, that's
about
what they
now
want.
and
They
all
want
this stuff.
Well, either they're banking on that, the like no like people forgetting about it, and if that's the case, you're really doing a disservice to what happened here, or you're banking on people who do know about it and support you to just try to drum up enough support for Helena Hutchins as like an easy cash grab of saying, oh this is for her family, this is
Yeah.
for her memory, and I just don't think I don't think it plays well either way. I think you close down production, you
Yep.
say, look,
Cut your losses.
this tragic incident does not need to be relived. We're moving on. This project needs to be put to bed. Done. Close it. Close up shop. It's over.
But
Alrighty,
when you're
guys.
egotistical like Alec Baldwin, you don't think you did anything wrong. And
Well, yeah.
therefore, why not
that is
finish with the movie?
true.
You know who wasn't egotistical, and I knew just
Fred
from
Ward.
Let's do it.
seeing his
He's
performance.
dead now.
79. He passed away.
He did.
Earl Bass from Tremors.
He
Yep.
can no longer move his bud.
He will be missed.
He had so many good lines in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like him and Kevin Bacon both.
Oh, that
but
was a great
I'm just
movie.
saying, he delivered some of those lines.
Of course,
That's
most people
just-
will know him from his breakout role in The Right Stuff, an astronaut film with
Yep.
a ton of other A-listers.
Yep.
I also will say it's like I definitely remember him mostly for Tremors.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of
He
his
was
other...
in other things though. Yeah.
Well, I
yeah.
was gonna say the article we linked to in the description specifically talks about him being a character actor through and through. He would just take up all these different roles that were just, could be off the wall, anything you could imagine him playing, and he would love to play. He's appeared on countless numbers of TV shows, but it was just like you never really knew when you were going to see him pop up, and then he would. And it's just funny because I'll be honest, it was like, other than Tremors, I never saw him in anything that I ever watched again, and yet that one film. And I think that's the thing with someone like Fred Ward is there's something that he has been in that's some kind of genre that a group of people
Oh yeah.
will remember him for.
Yeah.
Which again, and that to me was always the thought of when I was younger about wanting to be a Hollywood director. It was like not for the fame and the fortune, but if I could just have a steady paycheck and enjoy and do what I love, that to me would be a great gift, a blessing. And I think no doubt Fred Ward seems to have lived that out in his time here on Earth. And rest in peace, my friend.
There were actually, because Sean said that because I sent the text to you all about Bruce McVatty, who for people who are fans of Sopranos, he also passed this week. There were 3 because also was it yesterday? Maggie Peterson, who was on the Andy Griffith Show, died.
Yes,
She played
yeah.
Charlene
I saw
Darling.
that.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So it
The
is crazy.
Darlings.
The
Yeah.
Darlings,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
She was the cute one.
She was. Yeah.
Yes, so it is sad that it's like, man, when you think about a lot of these legends in acting that they are going and getting left with Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better way to sadly end that. We need some more greats. We need some more greats to remember that are worth remembering, that have a better legacy than the ones that are leaving behind now.
Yeah.
Let's, I guess, move on to our
our
final
unique segment.
Story time.
It's story time, where the podcast members tell their stories.
Story time. Yeah, I don't know if you all read.
I did.
the-
We did. We read it. We talked about it over at the.
Oh,
game.
you did. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're not
I
gonna be
didn't-
surprised.
I
by
didn't
the
talk
topic.
about it at all.
Well, we actually they talked about it. Me and Sean never did. I think of anything.
Talking about Well, I had to shorten it for the for the lower third here.
Yeah.
Frustrating hypocrisy is what I called it.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
So obviously the actual I guess sentence that I wrote in our notes
Yeah,
was
read that sentence.
a time you got mad at someone for doing something you realize you do all the time.
Yeah. I think they were talking something about farts or something. I don't know. It was no, there was more than that. I'm just
Oh, well, farts is a good one.
Yeah.
Y'all have any specific instances?
See, with the farts
it could be
thing,
anything.
I can't. I can't get behind that because girl farts are so different than boy farts.
So
sorry.
it's okay to be
Wait,
pissed at
I'm
girls
just
for
saying,
farting?
it's like when I
don't-
fart, it doesn't stink as bad
Well,
as hers.
no one thinks
That
their
is
own
not true for me.
No one thinks I think their own fart smells as bad as other
Do
people's.
you think that's what it is?
Oh, mine reek.
I've almost made
I know.
myself throw up.
Yes.
That's true. I know I've had
But-
some stinky ones. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've had some bad
Well,
ones.
maybe
I'm just
the
saying.
girls you're hanging around need to eat better. I don't know.
What? I'm only talking about my wife.
Oh, does
I-
she?
I don't
well,
know.
She eats well.
She eats well. She just
Yeah.
farts bad.
They're,
Sometimes
like,
the
really
healthy stuff.
toxic?
Maybe-
Sometimes the healthy stuff stinks
Maybe
too.
yeah. I was
though.
gonna say maybe I'm smelling a clean fart and I just don't.
You don't know what
I'm
it
used
smells-
to a bad one, so that one smells.
He's
worse.
like, I know what a Big Mac smells like. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's lettuce. I don't like that.
It's like, kale.
No, but yeah, the hypocrisy
those
about
kale
farts is
farts.
not.
No. Here's
No,
the-
no, I don't think that's a big one.
Everybody does that. Everybody they'll
Everybody
fart,
poops.
and then everybody's always like,
Did you
gross.
fart?
Yeah.
Stop that! And it's like,
First chance I get, I'm like, hey babe, can
Smell
you bend down and
this.
get that?
Nice.
Oh yeah. Coming through the door, I walk through the door in front of her and do it, and then she walks through it. And she'll be like, "Are you serious?"
just little that's your
Oh,
love
yeah.
language
We
right
just
there.
love it, and then she'll do it to me too.
Nice.
She
She's
do
like,
it to you in
"Come
the
over here
bed.
and snuggle, and then under
Yep.
the covers.
Oh,
Boom.
No, I mean,
Oh.
I know I've definitely
throw you
done it.
out of the mood, man.
It's the specifics though that I'm just like, because it's I can't think of any recent, and if it's not recent,
I've
then
got
I
one
can't
from
think
this
of things.
freaking weekend, man.
Oh man,
But you go ahead.
I was just saying I don't have anything
You don't
recent,
have anything
so I
recent,
can't
Brandon?
think
You
of
got anything
anything.
recent?
No, mine was more broad and generic. It was
Oh yeah,
driving.
Oh yeah. Okay.
There's lots of times where I'm driving and I'll
I'll get
like
mad at people.
I'll get pissed at either people going slow
then
or
you'll
cutting
start
them
cutting
off.
people
and then
off, yeah.
I've literally gotten people pissed at people going slow. And then there's been times where I feel like I'm going fast enough and they're riding my tail.
Yeah.
And I intentionally stay the same speed and I'm like, no, I'm going fast enough. You shouldn't be going that fast.
Yeah.
And I'm a hypocrite about it.
Okay.
I am.
No, I agree with that one. Yeah,
what
big
about
time.
What was your specific one?
Mine was like this past weekend. Like my oldest son was, I don't know, he was in a funk and he was running his mouth. And when you talk back to my wife, we got problems.
Ooh, yep.
So
Yep.
he was talking back to his mom, and we had a come to Jesus moment with soap in his mouth and all that good stuff. And it was pretty bad for him. And of course I don't like to do that, but you
Needs
you're
to be
not-
done.
Yeah, you're not going to talk to your mom or my wife that way. So it's like, no, I got to lay the law down. And so we went through the whole discipline thing. He cried and got grounded, and there was a lot of that stuff going on. But it's just like, I'm just like sitting up there in his room after I've calmed down, and he's finally finally starting to slow the breathing down and the dramatics and all that stuff. I
We've
go
all
up
been
there.
there.
I go up there and I talk to him, sit down, talk to him. And I talked to him about his mouth. I talked to him about his tongue and what the Bible says about your tongue. And we go through all this stuff. And I'm like, you're letting your mouth get you in so much trouble. It's the only thing you do that gets you in trouble, you know. And it's just like you're not bad. You don't break stuff. You don't steal stuff anymore. You don't. It's like we've been through those things before, but it's like your mouth is the one thing, son, that gets you in trouble. You've got to learn when to just stop. It's like I understand we make mistakes, but when somebody says, "Okay, that's enough," you stop. You don't just keep on going. That's his problem. I'm gonna mouth off to you, and then when you correct me, no, I'm gonna walk away and keep doing it and get my last words in and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, so I go downstairs and I'm in the kitchen telling my wife, and I'm just like, man, this phase he's going through is like, it's kicking my ass. And I'm like sitting here talking about it, and she's just like, you're letting your tongue do the same thing you're just telling your son not to do. But I was doing it a different way. I was, using language, and she's just like, how can you go up there and tell him to watch his mouth, and you come down here and you can't do the same thing with yours? And not only that, it's just like you all know there's times that I've said crap that's just like I'm not thinking about how it could hurt somebody. I'm just thinking. I'm just like
going on record. We've all been there.
Yeah,
we've all done it.
But it's just like it's like sometimes the stuff just comes out, and then I'm like, oh. Yeah, that didn't sound the way I wanted it to.
Yep.
And it's like I didn't have hurtful intentions by most of it, but it's like, yeah, that didn't come out right, or I should have thought about that before I should have thought about the consequences before I said it.
Yeah.
And then maybe I could have reworded it and made it, not so, hurtful to somebody else. So it's like, yeah, that's the thing is like talking to him and you try to teach your kids something and then you go and you do the same thing. And I think we all do that in different ways. It might not be with your mouth, but we all do that. It's like you tell somebody, hey, you shouldn't be watching that. And then you go home and watch Breaking Bad. And it's like, it's like, we all have those
Well, that's not the worst
things.
thing I've ever watched.
Of course not. But it's like, I've seen this stuff you watch.
Yeah.
Pigs and animals and weird stuff. I don't even know what that is.
Pigs.
No, I'm
It's
just
entertaining.
making stuff up.
Lamb.
But
Lamb.
But that's all. That's all.
No,
I got.
I
That was
com-
Friday. It was terrible.
it's
the day before his
Fridays.
birthday.
Oh, what? How old is he now?
He turned 9 on Saturday.
9. Oh wow, he's getting well. I was gonna say once he's turned into a teenager, that was when it got.
Yeah,
big.
Oh, you're getting
it's
close.
Like he's
Inching
9,
forward.
and it's that way.
Double
I can't
digits
imagine
next
what's
year.
I've got
when he's a
video
teenager.
of us taking down a Christmas tree.
Oh, that was the best video ever made.
Yeah, and I have this is this terrible looking chain. I don't know where I got it, some necklace, but it straight up looked like a.
We all
freaking
had chains in middle
gangster
school.
chain.
Yeah, it did. It looked like that. It really did.
That was the cool thing to have a gold chain in like middle
Oh,
school.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember,
Oh yeah.
And so I'm sitting there and we're taking it down the Christmas tree. Well, I just have this piss poor attitude.
Yeah, you do.
And I just remember like Amber and Chip, they did not. I mean, they're your siblings, so it's like my siblings. They're not going to let up, and they just kept laying it on thick, and I just kept getting a worse and worse attitude. And they kept making fun of it. And they were like, I think it's that chain. I think that chain's making you this way. And I kept getting so ticked. And finally, there was one time where I was like, my dad was getting mad at me. And he was like, now, look, we're all sitting here. He's like, start freaking taking ornaments off the tree. And I'm slamming ornaments. I start taking the ornaments off and slamming them into boxes.
Yeah.
And, and my dad just hauls off. And just a reaction, he just, bop.
Right in the back
smacks
of his
me.
head.
Yeah, and I just went, oh, no, they're trying to have me.
Oh,
Like,
man.
I just started like,
Yeah.
because I was
All
mad.
on video.
And it was just one of those things where I needed to be smacked.
Yeah.
He
because
gave him a good pop. It
Yep.
was great.
I was sitting here acting like a little.
I'm sure we've.
Yeah.
I know
Well,
I've
prick.
been popped a few good times. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Wow, it's all different stories because that's really not hypocrisy, I guess. Because,
no,
You know.
but I mean,
but yeah, we've all been there.
we've all been guilty of doing things that we don't want others to do, for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've done it in terms of like I remember a lot of times. It would be like a lot of learned lessons in terms of even just doing where I've come with Red Moon, and it's like with 26 years, there were just so many different things where I had a love and a fondness for watching, the special features on movies and whatnot, and
Yeah.
trying to learn. But there's a difference between learning, how to be professional and then actually acting professional. And so there were a lot of times where I liked to think that I knew something that I clearly didn't. And
Well, that's
yeah,
like,
others felt my wrath.
I've been guilty, like with movies. I mean, there's like I'm just dumb. We've sat in a theater. I mean, look at Jurassic World and just like made fun of crap. And I'm sure people around us didn't enjoy that. And there's been times like with the Lighthouse where I like the I like the movie. So
Yeah,
then it's like, would you
someone
quit being a?
else's-
It's like quit
yeah.
being a jackass. And it's
Yeah.
like. Truthfully, I'm being a jackass to the other people just because I
That is very good.
just
That's true.
I mean, just because I
Yeah.
consider the movie to
Yeah.
be terrible. Someone else is enjoying Jurassic World.
Somebody else liked F8
yeah,
Yeah.
and F9.
somebody out there. So I mean, we can all be hypocrites.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
it's just funny how it's usually in a moment where you're starting to do it that you're like, I all right, now I know how other people
Yeah,
feel
and then you
when
think
I'm
it's like
doing
maybe
it
I should
to
tone
them.
back on this, and then there's other times that I'm like, nah, I don't give a shit.
Wow.
No. You gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm okay with being a hypocrite.
I'm saying when you're in the theater and it's like this intense moment, and he's just like, "Huh," and the people behind us,
just
you
can't
can hear them
resist.
whisper. They're just like, "What is it?"
Yeah,
I
You're just
can't
like-
resist.
Now there have been times where I've heard other people whisper,
Yeah.
and I'll start to dial it back because
Yeah.
then I do
Oh, yeah.
feel like an asshole.
You don't wanna-
And
yeah,
I
you
don't
don't-
want. I don't want to be that.
You don't want
guy.
to completely
Yeah.
disrupt their experience.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you got to fill with the vibe of the theater. If everybody's just sitting there like watching the movie and they're all just like, "What?" It's,
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Well, and I agree. I think sometimes it's all about reading the scene. Sometimes it's like you can be a jerk, and then there's other times like those moments where I'm like, it's just funny, and you can't help but laugh.
Well, I mean, the still the Jurassic World one was my favorite.
That was-
when he like
The
drops the cane
Brachiosaurus?
or whatever. No, the with the old man. Spoiler alert, dies or whatever. And like the person, like it cuts to the person standing up at the desk. It's like, oh shit, because it does. Like, you see the cane fall, and then you see like that person just like jump up. I'm like, oh okay.
But when Keith said it, and it was
Yeah.
dead silence in the theater, and he goes, "Oh shit!"
It was an intense moment, man. I was like, oh dang, you know this is serious.
It was dead quiet.
It was
in there.
supposed to be an intense moment.
my
It just
God.
wasn't. I couldn't
That's
help
when,
it.
That's
I
when you're
couldn't
kind of
help
like
it.
you turn in your chair a little bit, like you're not associated with that person. It's like I'm not here with
No,
them.
I couldn't resist. It was
It's
just
one
it
of
was too
those
good an
moments
opportunity.
where you're just like
Oh.
you laugh, and you're kind of
Well, yeah, we have all these people behind us during the
Yes.
freaking brontosaurus scene, and they're just like, people are going, oh, and we're
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's so terrible. But I'm like, it's dumb. I'm sorry. How do you feel bad about this CGI thing that's just?
everybody behind us, you can just tell they're
so
just like,
true.
feeling
That's
sorry for
sad.
this
That
freaking
dinosaur's going to
dinosaur.
die. It's like they
Yeah.
died millions of years ago. It already happened. They're extinct. I mean, I don't. I don't know.
No, I agree. It's so funny because it's like
that's good.
I would get just as pissed, but it's moments like those where I'm like, no, that's funny. I can't. You can't be mad at that. Can't be mad. Whew.
Oh,
Alrighty, guys. What about you all out there in
Facebook,
podcast land? Yeah, all of our live streamers.
YouTubers.
What have you all had a frustrating, hypocritical moment? What about you all? Y'all tell us. Let us know about yours in the comment section alone. Or
Stuff. I'm over crying.
email us. At RMPodcast@redmoonproductions.com. Right there at the bottom of your screen. All of our social media. You can like, share, subscribe, everything. Thank you all so much for joining us. Yes, joining us every single Tuesday live at 9 p.m. Search for us on Facebook at Red Moon Book, Twitter, Red Moon Tweet, and Instagram at Red Moon Pics. And, of course, just search for Red Moon Productions on YouTube. And, again, that email address, let's throw it up there one last time for all of our viewers.
Where is it?
RMPodcast@redmoonproductions.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in every single week. We love you all out there. If y'all have an idea, right there at the bottom of the screen, email it. Right there, RMPodcast@redmoonproductions.com. Until next time, I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
And
Yep.
that's that John Dacre video. Yep.
John Dacre.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.